What in the world is a wetland? G'day mates, let's talk about one of the most incredible, life-giving places on our big blue planet. I'm talking about wetlands. Now you might be thinking, Steve, what in the blazes is a wetland? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like, land that's wet, but it's so much more than just a puddle. These places are the absolute champions of the natural world, a beautiful middle ground where the water meets the land. They are living, breathing ecosystems that are absolutely chock-a-block with life. They're not quite a lake and they're not quite dry land. They're this magical in-between zone, and that's what makes them so ripper. Think of wetlands as planet Earth's kidneys. Just like your kidneys filter out all the gunk from your body, wetlands do the same for our water. They're nature's very own purification system, working day and night, no sick days. These areas can be big or small, from a massive sprawling swamp that goes on for miles to a little neighborhood pond. What makes them so special is that they are constantly changing with the seasons. Sometimes they're flooded right up to the brim, and other times they might look a bit drier, but that water is always there, lurking just under the surface, keeping the whole system alive and kicking. They are true unsung heroes, doing a massive job for us and all the critters out there. You see, the real beauty of a wetland is its sheer power. These places are dynamos of biodiversity. They're like a bustling city for wildlife. You've got birds nesting in the reeds, little fish zipping through the shallows, frogs croaking their hearts out, and even big fellas like my beloved crocs lurking about, waiting for a feed. It's a non-stop 24/7 wildlife party. It's this incredible concentration of life that makes them so vitally important. They are nurseries, feeding grounds, and safe havens all rolled into one. When you stand at the edge of a healthy wetland, you can feel the energy, you can hear the symphony of sounds. It's absolutely magnificent. So next time you see a swampy-looking area, don't just think of it as muddy water. Oh no, mate. See it for what it truly is, a powerhouse of nature. It's a place of incredible importance, a critical link in the chain of life that supports us all. These wetlands are the lifeblood of so many regions, providing water, safety, and a home for countless animals. They are a living, breathing testament to the resilience and beauty of the natural world. We've got to understand them to protect them, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So stick with me, because we're about to dive deep into the heart of these watery wonders. All right, let's get our hands dirty and look at what makes a wetland tick. Every single wetland, no matter where it is in the world, has three main ingredients that make it what it is. First up, the most obvious one, water. But it's not just any water. In a wetland, the water table, that's the level of water underground, is super close to the surface or even right on top of it. This water can be there all year round, or it might just show up for a few months during the wet season. This constant presence of water is the boss. It dictates everything else that happens in that environment, from the soil to the incredible plants that call it home. Next on our list is the soil. Now, this isn't your average garden soil, not by a long shot. Wetland soil is what we call hydric soil. That's just a fancy way of saying it's soil that formed under wet conditions and doesn't have much oxygen. Because it's saturated with water most of the time, there's not a lot of air in it. This makes it really different from the soil in your backyard. It's often dark, mucky, and smells a bit earthy. That's the smell of life, mate. This special soil is brilliant at storing water, acting like a giant sponge, and it's packed with nutrients from all the dead plants and critters that have broken down over time. And that brings us to our third ingredient, the plants. You won't find just any old plant growing in a wetland. Oh no, the plants here are what we call hydrophytes, which means they're water lovers. These are the tough guys of the plant world, specially adapted to live in that soggy, low-oxygen soil. Think of cattails standing tall like soldiers, beautiful water lilies floating on the surface, or massive cypress trees with their knees sticking out of the water to help them breathe. These plants are absolute geniuses of survival. They figured out how to thrive in an environment that would drown most other plants. So you've got your water, your special soil, and your amazing water-loving plants. When you mix these three things together, you get a wetland. It's a perfect recipe for a dynamic and thriving ecosystem. Each part depends on the others. The water shapes the soil determines which plants can grow, and the plants help to filter the water and provide a home for all the little critters. It's a beautiful, interconnected system, a perfect example of how nature works together in harmony. Understanding these three key features is the first step to appreciating just how magnificent and complex these places really are, dangerously beautiful. Right then, not all wetlands wear the same khaki shorts. There's a whole family of them, each with its own personality. First up, let's talk about marshes. These are the ones you probably picture first. They're dominated by soft-stemmed plants like reeds, cattails and rushes. You won't find many trees here. Marshes are like a big watery meadow, and they are absolutely teeming with life, especially birds. Think of the Florida Everglades in the USA, a massive marsh that's a river of grass. They get their water from rivers, lakes or groundwater, and they can be fresh water, salt water or somewhere in between. They're incredibly productive and full of nutrients. Then you've got your swamps. Now swamps are a bit different from marshes because they've got trees and woody shrubs. They're forested wetlands. When you think of a swamp, you might picture big moss-draped cypress trees standing in dark, still water, just like you'd find in the bayous of Louisiana. That's a classic swamp. Swamps are often found along slow-moving rivers and in low-lying areas. One of the most famous swamps in the world is part of the Sundarbans, which straddles India and Bangladesh. It's a mangrove swamp, which is a special type of saltwater swamp we'll get to in a tick. Swamps are mysterious, beautiful, and home to some big critters, including my favorite reptiles. Now let's get into the really weird and wonderful ones, bogs and fens. Bogs are like giant, spongy cushions made of peat, which is basically old, compacted sphagnum moss. They get almost all their water from rainfall, so they're low in nutrients and very acidic. Because of the acid and low oxygen, things don't decompose very well in bogs. In fact, they've found perfectly preserved ancient human bodies in European bogs. They're unique, fascinating places, often found in cooler northern climates like in Ireland or Canada. Fens are also peat-forming wetlands, but unlike bogs, they get their water from groundwater, which means they have more nutrients and are less acidic. They can support a wider variety of plants, including sedges and beautiful wildflowers. Last but not least, we have the mighty mangroves. These are saltwater wetlands found along tropical and subtropical coastlines. What makes them so special are the mangrove trees themselves. These trees are absolute legends. They can survive in saltwater. They have a complex tangle of roots that stick up out of the mud, helping them to breathe and providing an incredible nursery for baby fish, crabs and shrimp. The Sundarbans, which I mentioned earlier, is the largest mangrove forest on the planet and is home to the magnificent Bengal tiger. Mangroves are our planet's frontline defense, protecting coasts from storm surges and erosion. What a bunch of little Aussie battlers! Crikey, if wetlands were superheroes, they'd be wearing a cape. These places do so much for our planet and for us, and most of the time they don't get any of the credit. First off, they're our best flood defense. Picture a wetland as a massive natural sponge. When heavy rains come down or rivers start to overflow, wetlands soak up all that extra water. They hold onto it and release it slowly, which stops downstream areas from getting flooded. By draining wetlands to build houses, we're basically throwing away our best umbrella right before a massive storm. They save lives and property, and they do it all for free. They're also the world's best water filters. As water flows through a wetland, the plants and the mucky soil act like a giant sieve. They trap sediments, and the plants and microbes absorb pollutants like fertilizers and chemicals from farms and cities. The water that leaves a wetland is much cleaner than the water that entered it. This means cleaner rivers, cleaner lakes, and cleaner drinking water for us. They even help to recharge our groundwater supplies. The water they hold slowly seeps down into underground aquifers, which are a vital source of fresh water for millions of people around the globe. They're working overtime to keep our most precious resource pure. And here's a big one for the whole planet. Wetlands are carbon-storing champions. The plants in wetlands pull carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. When these plants die, they don't fully decompose in the waterlogged, low-oxygen soil. Instead, they turn into peat. This process locks away huge amounts of carbon in the ground, keeping it out of the atmosphere where it contributes to climate change. In fact, peatlands alone store more than twice the carbon of all the world's forests combined. Protecting our wetlands is one of the most effective things we can do to fight the climate crisis. It's a simple, natural solution, and it's right there in front of us. Of course, we can't forget about the wildlife. Wetlands provide a 5-star home for an incredible number of species. They are critical for so many birds, fish, amphibians, insects, and mammals. They're a nursery for countless fish species that we rely on for food. They're vital rest stops for migratory birds traveling thousands of miles. They support more life per acre than almost any other type of ecosystem. And it's not just about the animals. For people, wetlands provide food like fish and rice, materials like reeds for building, and jobs in fishing and tourism. They are places of immense cultural and spiritual value for communities all over the world. They are, without a doubt, absolute legends. Now for the hard part, the bit that gets my blood boiling. These incredible, life-giving wetlands are in serious trouble. They are disappearing at an alarming rate, faster than any other ecosystem on Earth. The biggest threat by a country mile is drainage and development. For centuries, people have seen wetlands as wastelands that need to be reclaimed. So we've drained them to create farmland, we've filled them in to build cities and roads, and we've dredged them to create ports. Every time we do this, we're not just destroying a patch of muddy ground, we're ripping out a vital organ from our planet. Pollution is another massive enemy. All the nasty stuff from our farms, cities and industries eventually finds its way into our waterways, and wetlands are right on the front line. Pesticides and fertilizers from agriculture run off into the water, causing massive algal blooms that choke out all other life. Industrial chemicals, heavy metals, and even plastic waste accumulate in these sensitive environments, poisoning the water, the soil, and the animals that live there. We're treating these beautiful natural filters like a rubbish bin, and they're reaching their breaking points. The very systems that clean our water are being overwhelmed by our own waste. Then there's climate change, the great big gorilla in the room. Rising sea levels are drowning coastal wetlands like salt marshes and mangroves. At the same time, changing rainfall patterns and increased temperatures are causing other wetlands to dry out completely. More extreme weather events like massive hurricanes and prolonged droughts are putting immense stress on these ecosystems, pushing them beyond their ability to cope. Climate change is a threat multiplier, making all the other problems even worse. It's a vicious cycle. As we lose wetlands, we lose their ability to store carbon, which makes climate change worse, which in turn destroys more wetlands. And as if that wasn't enough, we've got invasive species to worry about. These are plants and animals that have been introduced to a wetland from somewhere else in the world. Without their natural predators, they can spread like wildfire, outcompeting and pushing out the native species that belong there. They can completely change the structure and function of a wetland, turning a diverse, healthy ecosystem into a monoculture dominated by a single aggressive species. And finally, we're simply overusing them. Taking too much water for irrigation, overfishing, and over-harvesting their resources. We're in a real fight to save these places, and it's a fight we can't afford to lose. All right, it's not all doom and gloom. There are people all over the world, absolute legends, who are fighting to protect and restore our precious wetlands. One of the most powerful tools we have is legal protection. Governments can pass laws and create treaties to safeguard these vital areas. A brilliant example is the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands, an international agreement signed by countries all over the globe, pledging to conserve their most important wetlands. By designating a place like the Everglades or the Sundarbans as a Ramsar site, it gets global recognition and a higher level of protection from destruction. It's like putting a big hands-off sign on our most critical natural assets. But what about the wetlands we've already damaged? Well, we can bring them back to life. This is called wetland restoration, and it's one of the most hopeful things happening in conservation today. It can be as simple as plugging up the drainage ditches that were dug to dry out a marsh, allowing the water to return. In other cases, it involves more work, like removing invasive species, replanting native vegetation, and reintroducing the natural flow of water. People are rebuilding coastal mangroves to protect communities from storms and restoring river floodplains to prevent floods. We're learning to work with nature, to heal the wounds we've inflicted, and bring these zombie ecosystems back from the dead. Conservation also means using wetlands wisely. We don't have to lock them up and throw away the key. Many communities depend on wetlands for their livelihoods, and that's okay, as long as it's done sustainably. This means managing fishing so that stocks don't collapse, harvesting reeds and other materials in a way that allows them to grow back, and developing ecotourism that brings in money for local communities while giving them a powerful incentive to protect their natural heritage. It's about finding a balance where both people and nature can thrive together. When local people benefit from a healthy wetland, they become its most passionate guardians. The most important weapon in our arsenal is education. We have to get the word out. We need to teach everyone, from kids in school to the politicians making the big decisions, just how vital wetlands are. When people understand that the swamp down the road is actually protecting their town from floods and cleaning their water, they're much more likely to want to save it. Community-led conservation projects, visitor centers at wetland reserves, and documentaries that showcase their beauty are all part of this. By raising awareness, we build an army of wetland warriors who will stand up and fight for these incredible places. It's a battle for hearts and minds, and it's one we can win. So, there you have it. From the murky, mysterious swamps to the spongy, life-filled marshes, wetlands are not wastelands, they are wonderlands. They are the hard-working, unsung heroes of our planet. They clean our water, they protect us from floods and storms, they put the brakes on climate change, and they provide a home for a staggering amount of wildlife. They are the nurseries of the rivers and the seas, the kidneys of the landscape, and the beating heart of biodiversity. To put it simply, they are absolutely essential for a healthy planet. We need them and they need us. The threats they face are real and they are serious. We've treated them poorly for far too long, draining them, polluting them, and taking them for granted. But we are at a turning point. We now understand their immense value. We have the science, the knowledge, and the passion to turn the tide. We know how to protect the wetlands we still have, and how to restore the ones we've lost. From international agreements to local community projects where kids are planting reeds, the fight is on. We are finally starting to see that investing in nature is the best investment we can possibly make for our future. Protecting wetlands isn't just about saving frogs and birds, as much as I love them. It's about saving ourselves. It's about ensuring we have clean water to drink, safe places to live, and a stable climate. It's about securing food for millions and preserving the natural beauty that enriches our lives and inspires our souls. The health of wetlands is a direct reflection of how we are treating our planet. Healthy wetlands mean a healthy earth and a healthy future for humanity. Their fate is tangled up with our own. We can't have one without the other. So, next time you're near a wetland, don't just walk on by. Stop for a moment. Listen to the chorus of frogs and the rustle of the reeds. Watch the dragonflies dance over the water. Appreciate the incredible, life-giving work that's happening right in front of you. These places are a gift. They are our planet's lifeline. It is our shared responsibility, our duty, and our privilege to protect them. The future of our wildlife and our own future depends on it. Let's get out there and be a voice for these silent, watery warriors. Good on you for listening.